Hello and welcome to our channel. We're going to tell you a story. My name is Isabella. I am 25 years old. Yes, I married a man much older than me. Why? Because I wanted a life full of comfort. I grew up in a small town where life was always difficult. My father worked as a mechanic, and my mother cleaned homes. We had love in our family but not much money. As a little girl, I used to dream about a big house, designer clothes, and fancy restaurants. But those were just dreams, until I met Mr. Daniel Morgan. Daniel was 56, a rich businessman. He owned hotels, cars, and even a private plane. The first time I saw him was at a charity event. I was working there as a waitress. I dropped a tray, and drinks spilled on his shoes. I was scared and embarrassed. But instead of shouting, he laughed. "You have beautiful eyes," he said, handing me a napkin. That moment changed my life. A few days later, he sent flowers to the restaurant with a card that said, "If you ever want a better life, call me." I did. Not because I loved him, but because I was tired of being poor. A first date. We met at a 5-star hotel. He wore a black suit. I wore a cheap dress I borrowed from my cousin. But Daniel didn't care. He spoke gently, listened to my story, and told me, "You deserve more." I asked him, "Why me? You can have any woman." He smiled and said, "Because you're honest. And I like the fire in your eyes." 2 weeks later, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I agreed. 3 months later he proposed. Said yes. But the truth, I didn't love him. I loved the life he could give me. The wedding. My friends were shocked. "Isabella, he's older than your dad. Are you marrying for money?" I didn't answer them. Our wedding was big and beautiful. I wore a white gown that cost more than my entire year's rent. My parents cried not because they were happy but because they were worried. Still, I smiled for the camera. People whispered, "She's a gold digger." And maybe they were right. Daniel treated me like a queen. He bought me a brand new car. We traveled to Italy, Greece, and Dubai. I posted happy pictures on Instagram. My followers grew. People said I was lucky. But they didn't know the truth. When the lights went off and the cameras were gone, I felt empty. Daniel was kind. But we were different. He liked jazz music. I liked pop. He woke up at 6 a.m. I loved to sleep till noon. He spoke about business. I wanted to talk about dreams. Sometimes I stared at him while he slept and thought, "What am I doing here?" One day, I received a letter from Mark, my ex-boyfriend. We had broken up 2 years ago because he couldn't find a job. He wrote, "I still love you, Isabella. Miss you. Do you ever think of me?" I did. But I also remembered how hungry we were. How we argued about bills. Daniel gave me peace. Mark gave me love but also stress. I didn't reply. I burned the letter. One rainy evening, Daniel came home early. He looked tired. I helped him take off his coat, and for the first time, I noticed the wrinkles on his hands. His skin was soft like paper. He looked at me and said, "Are you happy with me, Isabella?" Froze. How could I answer? Then he added, "I know why you married me. And it's okay." My heart dropped. He smiled gently. "I'm not blind, sweetheart. I see the way you look when I talk. The way you smile politely, but your eyes are far away. I didn't marry you to keep you locked. I married you to make your life better. I just hope, someday, you'll love me for real." He left the room, leaving me speechless. Guilt. That night I couldn't sleep. His words kept echoing in my head. Why was he so kind? Even after knowing the truth. Why didn't he throw me out or fight me? Suddenly I felt something new. Guilt. And something else I hadn't expected. Respect. He never treated me like a trophy. He respected me. He never asked for anything. All he did was give. Maybe he wasn't the wrong one. Maybe I was. After that night, something changed inside me. I began to look at Daniel differently. Not as a rich man. Not as someone who gave me comfort. But as a human who truly loved me. He never mentioned our conversation again. He continued his routine. Morning walks, coffee, office meetings. But now when he spoke I listened. Not with fake smiles but real interest. He told me about his childhood. About how he built his business from nothing. About the time he lost everything and started again. I began to admire him. His strength, his calm nature, his wisdom. And for the first time I started falling for him, not because of his bank account but because of his heart. I stopped wasting money on things I didn't need. I started waking up early, just to have breakfast with him. We laughed over toast and jam. We watched movies together. Sometimes even the boring old black and white ones he loved. He taught me how to play chess. I taught him how to use Instagram. We were learning each other. Slowly, gently. People outside still thought we were a joke. That I was the young wife using an old man for wealth. But they didn't see what was happening in our home. And in my heart. The first time I said, "I love you." One night we were walking in the garden. It was quiet. The sky was full of stars. He looked at me and said, "You don't have to pretend anymore, Isabella. If you want to go, I won't stop you. I want you to be free." Tears filled my eyes. How could he still be so selfless? I held his hand. "No, I don't want to go." He looked surprised. And then I said it for the first time, and I meant it. "I love you, Daniel." He didn't speak. He just hugged me tightly. It was the safest I had ever felt. Just when everything was going well, trouble knocked again. Daniel was diagnosed with a heart condition. It wasn't critical, but the doctor said he needed rest, less stress and love. For the first time, the thought of losing him hurt deeply. I stayed by his side, cooked for him, held his hand during doctor visits, cancelled all trips, events and parties. My world became small, but it was full of love. He often smiled and said, "You didn't marry me for this, did you?" And I always replied, "I married you for your soul. And now I'll stay for it too." One day I received a message on Facebook from Mark again. He had found a job now. He said he still missed me. This time I didn't even feel tempted. I showed the message to Daniel. He smiled and said, "Do you want to talk to him?" I shook my head. "No, Daniel. I'm exactly where I want to be. I don't need to chase old dreams. I have everything here with you." That night we sat on the porch. He kissed my forehead and whispered, "Now I believe you really love me." And I did. People still judge. It didn't matter how real our love became. People still whispered, "She married him for money. She's just acting. She's waiting for him to die." First I used to cry. But Daniel told me, "Let the world talk. Truth doesn't need to shout. It lives in silence. And it shines in time." He was right. Because love, true love, doesn't always begin with fireworks. Sometimes it starts with comfort. And grows with care. On our second anniversary, I wrote Daniel a letter. I placed it under his pillow. It read, "Dear Daniel, I married you for comfort, but your soul gave me peace. I stayed for the mansion, but your words became my home. I was looking for security, but I found the safest place in your arms. Thank you for loving me, even when I didn't deserve it. Love you, forever. Isabella." He cried after reading it. I had never seen him cry before. That night he said, "You didn't just marry me for money. You saved me from loneliness." The truth I tell everyone. People still ask me, "Why did you marry an old man?" I smile and say, "I married a rich man. But I stayed for a kind heart." Not all love stories start with magic. Some begin with mistakes. But with time, care and truth, even a selfish beginning can become a beautiful ending. Moral of the story. Love is not always about perfection. I hope you enjoyed this story. Have you ever experienced? Share your stories with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories and adventures. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.